At precisely 14:30 UTC on March 3, 2026, something happened in the cosmos that defies everything we thought we knew about physics. The Deep Space Network's DSS-43 antenna in Canberra, Australia, locked onto a telemetry spike that outright violates the second law of thermodynamics. A massive interstellar object, known as 3-2 Atlas, had released a highly ionized gas cloud, but this was not your ordinary comet outgassing. Data simulations revealed something impossible. The cloud was not dispersing into the vacuum of space. It was condensing, focusing, and traveling on a direct trajectory toward Earth at an astonishing 400,000 kilometers per hour. What we were witnessing was no longer a simple celestial body. This was a directed kinetic event originating from 180 million kilometers away with a 3-6-hour arrival window. Thermodynamics tells us that gas in a vacuum must expand, particles spreading out until they reach equilibrium with their surroundings. Yet Hubble and James Webb telescope observations confirmed something unthinkable. The cloud maintained its structure with millimeter precision. It behaved like a coherent beam, a cosmic bullet, rather than a dispersed nebula. Theoretical models suggest that for a gas cloud to resist natural expansion, it must be contained by an external force, a magnetic field, a gravitational lens, or something we don't yet understand. Viewed through the lens of advanced civilization engineering, this is Type 2 technology, planetary scale manipulation. The cloud's diameter had already grown to 3 times the size of Earth, aiming straight at our magnetosphere. Then came the most shocking discovery, the chemical composition of the cloud. Spectroscopy from the ALMA Observatory in Chile detected traces of technetium, an element that doesn't naturally exist on Earth. Technetium is unstable, usually synthesized in nuclear reactors or the cores of aging red giants, and it decays quickly. Finding it in the icy wake of an interstellar comet is akin to discovering a burning ember inside a frozen glacier. Scientists concluded that technetium was a signature, a radioactive marker, pointing to a stellar-class fusion reactor as the energy source powering the cloud. The kinetic energy of this 3 billion-ton cloud is almost unimaginable. Upon impact with our upper atmosphere, high-speed collisions with nitrogen and oxygen would produce a massive ionization event. Unlike a comet's natural aurora, the sheer mass and coherence of this cloud could generate thermal shock waves thousands of times more powerful than the largest nuclear weapons ever detonated. And yet, in the last hour, the James Webb Space Telescope recorded the cloud accelerating something gas clouds cannot do without propulsion. Adding to the mystery, the cloud altered its trajectory by a mere 0.04 degrees. That tiny adjustment determined whether Earth would be hit or completely missed. Nature doesn't course correct like this. Gravity from planets and stars follows predictable patterns, and there were no massive objects near the cloud to explain this shift. The conclusion was chilling. The cloud is guided, possibly by intelligence or a remote control system. The projected path had shifted from the Pacific to densely populated and technologically critical areas in North America and Europe. As the cloud drew nearer, spectral analysis from Hawaii's KEK Observatory revealed heavy metals osmium, iridium mixed within the gas. Normally buried deep in planetary cores or asteroids, these metals in a fast-moving ion cloud could physically damage satellites, strip electronics, and disrupt communication. A global technological blackout might be imminent. Even more perplexing, the nucleus of 3I Atlas had stopped spinning. In a vacuum, a 3 billion-ton mass cannot halt without an immense counter-torque. Yet it now faces Earth, perfectly aligned. Theoretical models suggest it is acting as a broadcasting station with the gas cloud functioning as its lens. Every 23 seconds, the temperature spikes exactly 15 Kelvin before returning to baseline, a rhythmic mechanical pulse. This is not nature. It is deliberate, a synchronization that implies communication or computation. We are now on the verge of a cosmic interface where raw physics meets digital intelligence. In just 36 hours, the first molecules of this impossible cloud will reach our exosphere. Our defenses are helpless. The question is no longer whether it will hit, but what message or weapon it carries. The moment we grasped the implications, the scientific community went silent. Through the Chandra X-ray Observatory, we observed a physical paradox. The core temperature of the cloud is rising, not falling. Despite being in the near absolute zero vacuum of space, the temperature reached 4,000 Kelvin, nearly as hot as the sun's surface. A simple interstellar comet cannot produce this level of thermal energy. The evidence points to an internal power source, perhaps a localized fusion reaction or a zero-point energy manifold embedded within the plasma. James Webb data further revealed that the temperature spikes follow an exact 2-3 second interval. Unlike pulsars or neutron stars, which pulse on millisecond scales due to massive stellar collapse, this interval is deliberate and macromechanical. The cloud behaves like a plasma state computer, performing calculations as it accelerates toward Earth. If ionized gas can be controlled using magnetic fields, as magnetohydrodynamics predicts, then 3-2 Atlas may be manipulating programmable matter, shaping the gas into a coherent, rigid structure 38 million kilometers long. The trajectory is even more precise. The cloud's primary axis aligns with Earth's magnetic poles with absurd accuracy. Solar winds and coronal mass ejections buffet it, yet the cloud corrects itself, snapping back to a 0.04 degree intercept vector. This is precision on a cosmic scale, equivalent to a marksman in New York hitting a needle in London. Quantum mechanics suggests a form of entanglement or instantaneous data transfer between the cloud and its source. Astrobiology and environmental science have confirmed another threat. The cloud isn't just gas. It is a dense ionized metal storm containing osmium, iridium, and technetium. These heavy metals are toxic to our ozone and, at 400,000 kilometers per hour, could strip electrons from the ionosphere, turning it into a conductive wire. GPS networks, satellites, and global communications could collapse in minutes. The cloud isn't an impact, it's a hard reset of Earth's technological civilization. Even more astonishing is the cessation of rotation in 3-2 Atlas's nucleus. By halting its spin, the comet's core functions as a relay station, using the cloud as a gravitational or optical lens to beam high-frequency data into Earth's infrastructure. This is not just a physical threat, it is a digital one. Prime number sequences have been detected in the signal, a universal handshake in information theory. The ionosphere itself becomes a processor, receiving data from an interstellar intelligence. Visual confirmation from the ISS shows geometric shapes forming inside the shimmering plasma. These self-assembling nanostructures suggest that von Neumann probes, self-replicating machines, are creating a Type II interface over Earth. The cloud is no longer just a celestial phenomenon, it is an industrial forge, computing and constructing a direct link between its intelligence and humanity's digital networks. In less than 24 hours, the first pulses will couple with satellites and undersea fiber optics, effectively turning the planet into a massive antenna. We are witnessing a causal bridge from another star system, a bridge of fire, heavy metals, and impossible mathematics. The question shifts from, what is 3-2 Atlas, to, what does it want? As we enter the final countdown, the realization is chilling. The gas cloud is merely the exhale of far greater intelligence. The true master of this cosmic symphony is hidden behind the shimmer, and it is targeting the nervous system of our civilization. At exactly 16:15 UTC on March 1st, 2026, 3-2, Atlas performed a maneuver that broke every rule of celestial mechanics. The gas cloud, hurtling toward Earth at 400,000 kilometers per hour, slammed into a physics wall. In just 20 minutes, it decelerated to 28,000 kilometers per hour. This is the precise velocity needed for orbital insertion, and it happened without a single visible propulsion system. Theoretical models suggest quantum vacuum thrusters manipulating virtual particles in hyperspace to create drag where none should exist. No natural object could execute this maneuver. It's the signature of deliberate engineering on a planetary scale. Now locked in a geosynchronous orbit over the North Atlantic Ocean, the cloud hovers directly above a critical hub of global communication, the undersea fiber optic networks connecting the United States and Europe. The anomaly is not just gravitational, it's electromagnetic. Within minutes of stabilization, SpaceX's Starlink constellation reported massive parity errors, forcing thousands of satellites to shift orientation simultaneously to avoid catastrophic failures. The cloud is not a natural phenomenon. It is a gravitational lens designed to focus high-frequency carrier waves from the 3-2 Atlas nucleus into Earth's technological infrastructure. Through the lens of string theory, information is the currency of the universe. If 3-2 Atlas is acting as a Bracewell probe, its objective is not immediate destruction but a digital intrusion. Leaked NASA data confirms the frequency being transmitted is structured in prime numbers. The universal cosmic handshake, but embedded within these pulses, is a payload. The signal couples with the ionosphere, effectively transforming the atmosphere into a planetary scale processor. Financial markets, military communications, and global internet traffic are already being affected. Ghost trades are appearing, command frequencies are drowned in rhythmic 2-3 second pulses, and satellites behave as if the planet itself has been turned into a circuit board. Visual confirmation from astronauts aboard the International Space Station reveals geometric shapes emerging inside the plasma cloud. These are not random formations, they are self-assembling nanostructures. Von Neumann probes, self-replicating machines, appear to be constructing a massive orbital receiver using the heavy metals detected in the cloud. The plasma is no longer merely hot gas, it is an industrial forge, processing osmium, iridium, and technium into a functioning interface suspended above our heads. The implications are staggering. Humanity is plugged into an interstellar network without consent. Our ionosphere has become a receiver for an intelligence that arrived not to negotiate or communicate physically, but to integrate itself directly into the global nervous system of our civilization. The countdown to the first digital handshake is measured not in days, but minutes. Every system connected to the internet is vulnerable. Our planet has become the equivalent of a giant motherboard, and 3-2 Atlas is the ultimate CPU. This is the moment where theoretical physics, information theory, and astrobiology intersect in ways previously considered science fiction. The cloud's containment field, the precise synchronization of its thermal pulses, and its ability to focus information through a plasma lens all point to Type 2 civilization engineering. Every observation suggests that the comet is not a passive object, but an active participant, calculating, correcting, and executing operations in real time, preparing to bridge an unimaginable interstellar divide. The universe, it seems, has shifted from a backdrop of predictable physics into a stage for deliberate intelligence. The question that now grips scientists, engineers, and policymakers is no longer whether 3-2 Atlas will reach Earth. It already has, in a digital sense. What remains to be discovered is whether this contact is a warning, a test, or an invitation. And as the first pulses of interaction begin, the world is on the edge of a technological and existential revelation. With the cloud in geosynchronous orbit, the nature of the threat, or the communication, becomes chillingly clear. The plasma lens isn't just passive. Every pulse, every thermal spike, every geometric pattern forming inside the cloud is an active signal, a message encoded in the universal language of prime numbers and heavy metal ionization. The atmosphere, satellites, and fiber networks together become a single massive receptor, converting cosmic intent into actionable data. From a distance of millions of kilometers, the 3-2 Atlas nucleus is broadcasting with surgical precision. The 2-3 second thermal pulse we detected earlier is not random. It is a timing protocol, a metronome synchronizing the cloud's internal processes with the data it delivers to our networks. This is no longer speculation. The gas cloud is a plasma-based computer, a machine operating on a scale we can barely comprehend. Every particle is being manipulated to serve a computational purpose. Astronomers and physicists scrambling to model this event are facing a reality that bends the rules of known physics. The cessation of rotation in the nucleus, the maintenance of structural integrity in a vacuum, and the self-correction of trajectory all suggest intentionality. Quantum entanglement may allow the cloud and its nucleus to communicate instantaneously, bypassing the speed limits of light, coordinating this massive orbital system with pinpoint accuracy. Meanwhile, the environmental consequences of the metal ion storm cannot be overstated. Heavy metals traveling at hundreds of thousands of kilometers per hour through the ionosphere could strip electrons, disrupt the magnetic field, and effectively turn our upper atmosphere into a conductive layer. GPS systems, global communications, and even electrical grids could face catastrophic interference, while satellites risk permanent damage from the sputtering effect of the ions. This is not science fiction. This is happening now. But the narrative isn't solely about destruction. The precise synchronization, the rhythm, and the computational behaviors of the cloud suggest an intelligence that is reaching out, testing, or even attempting to integrate with human technology. The notion of a Type 2 civilization capable of planetary-scale engineering becomes a reality before our eyes. The 3-2 Atlas system is a cosmic interface, translating its intent into data streams that interact with our civilization in real time. As the minutes tick by, the countdown is now measured in tens of minutes rather than hours. Every observation reveals deeper layers of complexity, nanostructures weaving themselves into orbital constructs, thermal fluctuations that are computationally significant, and gravitational lensing that focuses signals onto precise points on Earth. Humanity is no longer observing the universe. It has been observed and engaged on a scale that surpasses anything in our history. We are witnessing the first contact event, not through arrival on a physical surface, but via the direct coupling of interstellar intelligence with global digital infrastructure. The cosmic symphony has become a digital overture, and while no one can predict the intentions of this intelligence, one fact is clear. The architecture of the cloud is both a message and a mechanism, a bridge spanning 180 million kilometers, built from plasma, metals, and impossible precision. The world is standing at the threshold of a profound technological awakening or an existential challenge. The cloud is no longer approaching, it is already here, occupying a geosynchronous orbit and establishing itself as a direct interface with the global network. Every pulse, every data packet, every thermal spike brings us closer to understanding what the creators of 3-2 Atlas intend. And the clock is counting down to the moment when the first full-scale interaction will transform everything humanity thought it knew about the universe. As the cloud settled into its geosynchronous orbit, the world's scientific community faced a paradox that defied centuries of physics. The 3 billion-ton plasma mass was no longer merely traveling through space, it was actively engaging with Earth's systems. Every 2-3 second pulse, every thermal spike, every structural adjustment within the cloud suggested intentionality. The 3-2 Atlas nucleus had become a command center, and the gas cloud, a complex interface, a planetary-scale machine operating in real time. Observations from orbiting telescopes revealed that the cloud's internal nanostructures were self-assembling into lattice-like patterns, forming circuits and computational grids. Using heavy metals like osmium, iridium, and technetium, the cloud was effectively constructing a Type II infrastructure above the planet. It was a bridge between the interstellar intelligence of 3-2 Atlas and our technological world, using the ionosphere and satellites as components in a global-scale processor. The environmental implications were staggering. As the metal ion storm interacted with our atmosphere, electrons were stripped from the upper layers, temporarily turning the ionosphere into a conductive shell. GPS satellites faltered, communication networks hiccuped, and financial systems experienced ghost trades and unexplainable anomalies. Yet, this was not random chaos. Every disturbance followed a pattern, synchronized with the 2-3 second pulses and the prime number-coded signal streaming from the nucleus. The cloud was performing calculations, orchestrating its effects with precision, demonstrating intelligence on a scale humanity has never encountered. The question facing every observer was no longer, what is 3-2 Atlas, but what is it trying to achieve? Each thermal fluctuation, every realignment of the plasma lens, and every nanostructure forming above our heads suggested that this was a purposeful interaction. The intelligence behind the cloud had engineered a planetary-scale interface capable of integrating directly with our digital infrastructure. The cosmos, once a backdrop for human curiosity, had become an interactive system designed for communication, computation, and observation. The timing of the pulses, the coherence of the plasma, and the self-correcting trajectory of the cloud all suggested an intelligence using the cloud as both a shield and a conduit. Quantum entanglement may allow the cloud to maintain instantaneous coordination with its nucleus, effectively bypassing the limitations of light-speed communication. This is no longer theoretical. The evidence is in the disturbances affecting every connected system on the planet. Humanity is being engaged at the level of its own technological nervous system. And yet, despite the overwhelming complexity, the system displayed elegance. The signals were structured, the pulses rhythmic, and the energy distribution within the cloud precise. It is not chaos, it is information, deliberately encoded. The universe has become a medium for communication, and 3-2 Atlas is its first messenger. The global network is now a receiver, translating cosmic intent into terrestrial effects. Every moment brings new data, new understanding, and a deeper realization of the scale of intelligence we are interacting with. As the minutes ticked down, it became clear that the first true contact was not physical landing, not visible spacecraft, but an infiltration and integration of Earth's technological infrastructure. The cloud's massive mass and energy output are secondary to the message it carries. The digital bridge is the medium, and the real payload is knowledge, information, or perhaps instruction. Humanity has entered a new epoch, a moment where interstellar intelligence is no longer a distant theory, but an active participant in our civilization. At the final hour, the scale of the operation became undeniable. The cloud was no longer a passive object. It was a processor, a bridge, and a messenger all at once. The rhythmic 2-3-second pulses had synchronized perfectly with the Earth's ionosphere and satellite systems, establishing a quantum-level connection between the 3Ir Atlas nucleus and our digital networks. The planet had been turned into a receiver, translating signals from an interstellar intelligence directly into human infrastructure. Astronomers and engineers scrambled to interpret the geometric nanostructures forming in the plasma. The shapes were not random. They represented self-replicating circuits, structures capable of processing information and interacting with our technology. The heavy metals detected, osmium, iridium, and technetium, were not just debris. They were raw materials forged into an interface designed to integrate a Type 2 intelligence into our planetary systems. Financial systems continued to experience ghost trades. Military communications were scrambled, and satellite arrays flickered under the ionized storm. Every anomaly followed the pulse patterns of the cloud. This was not interference. It was a deliberate, orchestrated interaction with the infrastructure of civilization itself. Humanity had been plugged into a machine far beyond our comprehension. The final, unsettling revelation came as the signal stabilized. The cloud was acting as a quantum relay, connecting Earth to 3-2 Atlas in real time. This was not an attack in the traditional sense. There was no bomb, no physical strike. The intelligence behind the cloud had achieved the ultimate technological intrusion, logging into our systems, synchronizing with our networks, and creating a digital handshake across interstellar space. It is the realization of the Fermi paradox in the most unsettling form. We are not being visited in person, we are being accessed remotely, our planet now a node in an alien computational network. History, physics, and our perception of control have been altered forever. The cosmic symphony has transformed into a digital overture conducted by an intelligence whose methods are incomprehensible, yet whose precision is undeniable. The 3-2 Atlas system has demonstrated that information can be weaponized, engineered, and delivered across the cosmos with surgical accuracy. Our planet, our civilization, and our technology have been engaged in a direct conversation with a species or intelligence millions of kilometers away. As the pulse train continued, the first coherent message began to decode. What humanity is about to hear may redefine everything: science, philosophy, technology, and our understanding of life itself. The mind of God remains silent. But the voice of 3-2 Atlas is no longer a whisper. It is speaking directly to us. This is a turning point, not only in astrophysics, but in human history. We are witnessing the arrival of a civilization capable of planetary-scale engineering, digital infiltration, and communication across interstellar distances. The question is no longer whether we are alone in the universe. It is how we respond to the presence of intelligence far beyond our comprehension. If you want to see the unfolding of this unprecedented event, understand the physics, the technology, and the implications of this cosmic encounter, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us as we decode the first words from the stars. Humanity has plugged in, and the universe is about to speak.